and welcome to Out of the Darkroom on Adorama TV. I'm here in London and joining me on the show today is the incredible architectural photographer Joas Souza.
Adorama TV presents Out of the Darkroom with Ruth Medjber.
Thanks for joining me today, Joas.
Thank you, my pleasure.
I'm sure you've got a really busy schedule at the moment, so I really appreciate you coming down and chatting to us.
Thank you.
So why don't you start off by telling me and our viewers a little bit about how you got into architectural photography?
Well, I would say that architecture photography has been in my life, my entire life. My mom is an architect, and my father is a photographer. So since I've been surrounded by projects and photographs.
It was just natural. If your mum's an architecture photographer.
Exactly, you know, one way or another, I will be in that kind of market.
You obviously love it though.
I love it. I love photographing buildings, houses, you know, structures, concrete, glasses, steel, you know, I love these things.
Wow. Did you train or did you learn from your father? Or?
Well, I would say because my father is a photographer, you know, I think I was the first son. He always pushed me to be a photographer. And lucky him, I love it.
Yeah.
But when I got like 3 years old, I got my first camera, which didn't last an hour, because I washed the camera after dropping some ice cream in it.
Oh no!
So he said, okay, it's not time for it yet. and when I was 5, he gave me like a Kodak extra light, 110 millimeters, which was the way how I started photographing. Basically, he used to give me a film, like 36 exposures, and he said, son, have fun, do anything you want, you know, photograph everything you want. Yeah. And afterwards, he used to do a contact sheet with all the images, and we used to sit down together and analyze frame by frame each image. Why I've done this? Don't you think I have too much sky here? Why you cut this off? You know? Yeah. You know, every single shot was analyzed, so every film was a new lesson. From 5 years old to 13, which was when I got my first SLR camera, which was the Pentax K1000. Yeah. He bought for me with a 50mm lens. Nice. Perfect kit, complete manual you have. Because with my little Kodak, I learned how to compose, you know, how to do composition of my images. I have no control of the speed, of the aperture, nothing. It's just point and shoot, you know. So I was learning how to compose the image. When I got the Pentax, which is completely manual, I start knowing how to work with depth of field, with the speed, the ISO, everything. But after 1 year, I think, he said, son, you have enough. Let's sell this camera. You can use my stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so he had like Linhofs, Hasselblads, Nikons, everything. So large format, medium format, and 35 millimeters.
You had it all?
Everything.
Wow.
Like free to play and to use. And he, of course, he taught me how to do, how to work with these cameras. He said, if you want to take my Hasselblad to school and take photos of your friends, you're free to go.
You're the coolest 14-year-old ever.
Exactly. So for my whole teenage, from, let's say, 13 to 20 years old, I assisted him photographing big industries and massive companies in Brazil. Wow. And when I became adult, let's say 21 years old, I would say I became a professional photographer, and we start working together. Oh, wow. You know, except when you used to have like a contract to photograph any project, he used to do the aerial photography, and I used to do the ground one, so half.
And then when was it you decided that you needed to move to London?
Well, after 7 years with this partnership, I was 27, 28 at that time. In the variety of architecture styles in London is amazing. You have like a really medieval church, and the next door you have like a glass building. Yeah. You know, this is amazing.
Do you have any particular favorites to shoot? Any type of structure or building that you love to photograph?
Definitely the art of modern architecture.
Really?
You know, I thought that London is very classic, you know, very Victorian and stuff, but I love the modern architecture, just like the city of London. Wow. With like sharp edges, you know, glass, because when you have sharp edges and the kind of shadows you have, it creates like patterns, really interesting patterns along the year. This is something interesting about architecture photography. depends on when you do it and which time of the day. You have a different shadow, you know, a different pattern, a completely different landscape.
That's what I was going to ask you about, actually, is the time of day that you shoot buildings. Do you almost like stake out a building and watch it, you know, throughout the day to see where the shadows are before you photograph
definitely.
it?
There's a lot of homework to do.
Maybe tell us a little bit. Okay, say if I'm a client, I'm coming to you saying, can you photograph this new building? What's your jumping off point? Where do you begin?
I begin visiting the site, you know, in the afternoon, in the morning, at night. I have to see the light and the sunlight, because when you're an architecture photographer, you're completely slave of the sun.
Yeah.
You know, you become the weatherman.
Yeah.
You know, you have to know when the sun rises, when the sun sets.
Is there a time where you tell your clients, I'll come back in a few months almost?
Well, if the client, if it's an architect,
yeah,
right, and he needs photographs for his portfolio, I would say I recommend you to wait
till
a
spring.
couple of months to the spring to have the best lighting.
Wow.
And then you have what you're really looking for. But if it's a estate agent or
just needs them now.
Just need it now.
Yeah.
So you have to work out how you're going to do the best shot at this time of the year.
So it's not just big corporate modern work that you do. You do projects, don't you? Personal projects.
Yeah, yeah.
You go off and you explore different types.
Yeah, kind of architecture style that I know people are not interested anymore in and ask someone to photograph. Like, and I know they're never going to be commissioned to photograph a brutalist
movement building, like buildings that were decades ago.
This is behind, you know.
So people aren't interested. So you go and you photograph them.
Yeah, I thought, I'm never going to be commissioned to photograph this kind of thing, so I have to do for myself. So I thought, what is the best example of brutalism construction in London? The Barbican.
The Barbican.
Which is incredible. I like it. I like the modern lines. Yeah. But I like the different.
I love the Barbican. I love the brutalist movement because it's not modern and it's not clean.
It's the opposite.
It's the absolute opposite. It's dark. There's no glass.
Exactly.
It's almost painful to look at.
But it's full of sharp angles.
And you photographed it so well that, I mean, when I was looking at your pictures of these old buildings, the edges are super sharp and the shadows are great, but it's almost. Did you photograph that on film?
No.
It looks like you photographed it on film.
Yeah.
The tonal quality is incredible.
Good.
I was actually looking at that going, you must have scanned that on something brilliant.
No, it was completely digital.
Yeah.
Completely digital. And I photographed, I spent like a week, I was really lucky with the weather, and I had like a really sunny week in London.
Yeah.
Just like last week.
Wow.
And so I spent this whole week photographing the Barbican.
Wow.
In every single way I thought was interesting. Because I'm photographing modern architecture every day. When you get something like this, you say, wow, this is a challenge.
So you still challenge yourself in your work?
All the time.
Brilliant.
All the time. If you get stuck, you know, you get out of date.
Yeah. So you go every time.
Just sharpen yourself. You know,
go shoot something different.
Something different all the time.
I guess that's a good tip for any photographer, really. When your work gets stale, go photograph something completely different.
Yeah, because photography for me is a big pleasure. I'm fortunate to work with something that I love to do.
Yeah.
Right, so if I don't have any commission at the moment, I will find someone to photograph. Okay. I will do a personal project.
Yeah, your images are so crisp and clean. I mean, they almost look like they're not real buildings in some regard. Do you do any post-production in terms of removing objects? I'm talking about like in terms of like, you know, there might be like bins on the street and things like that.
Well, sometimes I spend a lot of time removing the bins.
Physically?
Physically. I put my camera tripod, do my composition and say, okay, what is bothering me? Oh, that bin, that bag. So I remove, put everything away.
You clean up the street?
I clean up the street. Clean up the street. And of course, in post-production, I erase what I think is not right.
Yeah.
And of course, post-production for me is not manipulating image.
No.
It's you developing the raw file.
Nice.
You know, like when I start photographing, I used to do my shots, take to the lab, and there was a guy behind the darkroom which used to do all the developing for me.
Yeah.
I used to do the instructions and burn down and dodge and burn manually. Now you do
Everything.
developing. You do everything, you know. I said, well, part of my time when I'm not shooting, I'm just improving my skills, how to develop my raw files, you know.
Do you use any studio lighting or anything like that when you move inside to shoot an interior?
Well, I try to use the natural light as much as I can,
Okay.
you know, because this new modern buildings, the light I have inside is already really good.
Yeah.
You know, they have the interior designer who plays with the furniture and the finishings, and you have the lighting designer, which is going to light up properly the whole building, and it works really well most of the time.
Yeah.
What I see is like it's not something so modern, so the lights are not that great.
Yeah.
Of course, I add some lights and some flashes, just a tiny bit here or there. You know, some staircase need a bit of light.
A little bit of fill.
That corner is not well lit. So
Tell us a bit then about your gear. I mean, I'm sure you're not still shooting on the little 35 mils. Did you? And obviously it's not medium format though, is it? It's not. So what do you shoot on normally?
After the digital revolution, I started using Canon.
Okay.
Canon bodies and Canon lenses, especially because of the tilt shift lenses.
Yeah. Okay.
An architecture photographer cannot live without tilt shift lenses.
Do you have a particular tilt shift or just?
Yeah, the 24 and the 17 tilt shift. They are
Okay.
two. You know, you have to have that lens if you want to be an architecture photographer, especially for London.
Yeah.
Where
Everything is so
the
tight.
streets are very narrow and the buildings are quite high. I don't have so much space to go further back.
Yeah.
So I need to have a wide angle.
You rely on the width.
Yes.
So that's normally what you'd shoot on the ground with is your tilt shift 17 mil.
17 or the 24 to get everything straight lines, no distortion. I stopped using Canon, to be honest. I stopped using Canon bodies.
Okay.
Just the Canon lens. I love the Canon optics because, you know, the SLR, the DSLR cameras, they are quite bulky. They're heavy. They're quite big. And I was always wondering, when are we gonna have something small and powerful and light, as small as a Leica, but powerful as a medium format?
And what do you use?
A Sony.
Really?
So when the Sony came out with the A7R, 36 megapixels, and amazing dynamic range, I say, that's exactly what I was looking for.
The Sony body with the Canon lenses.
With the Canon lenses.
Listen, before I let you go, can you give any of our viewers who might be interested in getting into architectural photography some maybe tips or what they should do to get their career off the ground, or even, you know, what's the best gear to go and buy?
Well, definitely you have to have tilt shift lenses. You know, this is the first step, and second is start to sharpen your eyes. You know, start looking everywhere. You know, look up, look it down.
Listen, I'm not going to keep you much longer because I'm going to let you go play with your new camera. But thanks so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
I learned loads. I really love that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Joas.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining me on the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to leave any comments below. I really do appreciate your feedback. If you'd like to brush up on your own photography skills, then check out the Adorama Learning Centre. You'll also find more videos if you subscribe to the Adorama YouTube channel. Thanks, and I'm going to see you again real soon.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy to use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.